Howdy mates, good morning, how are y'all doing? It is Sunday, March 6th, 2022. Right now I'm actually revisiting a site that I have not been to for quite a while. This is called the Corkscrew Swamp Sanctuary, located near Naples. It's actually regarded as one of the largest boardwalks in Florida. It's actually a little over 2 miles long. But like where we are right now, we're just getting into the cypress forest, where previously we just came from a little wet prairie. But I want to point out some plants. It's like right down here, we've got something called Alligator Flag. It's a common native plant, and it's actually quite unique in terms of how they pollinate. So what they do is they release their pollen into the air, and if any bees pass through, this is just an example, they will pick up that pollen and reestablish it elsewhere. Now, the alligator flag, also known as fire flag, it goes by a couple of different names. It's been used by the Seminole as a means of food, and even using it as plate material too. So they'll pick up that large leaf, fold it up, and then it's essentially a plate for whatever meal that they decide to consume. Here we've got some rabbit's foot fern. They're always distinguished by having the wide spaces and leaves. You commonly see them, especially among bald cypress, most of the time. But just seeing the sheer number of ferns here just really indicates that, this ecosystem has remained unchanged. It's quite humbling when you walk in a place like this. So, you may have noticed, especially in this ecosystem, we are primarily seeing bald cypress and even pond cypress. But here's the thing. Even though they look very alike, there is a couple of differences. So like pond cypress is typically shorter in terms of height than that of the bald cypress. Not only that, but the needles that belong to a pond cypress typically point upwards. But then with bald cypress, it's the other way around. They typically are flat and point downwards most of the time. And of course, bald cypress tends to grow much taller. And these trees take quite some time to grow. Some of these trees that I'm even seeing right now in here could be at least 100 years old. But the thing is, this ecosystem at one point was actually nearly threatened. You may be wondering, how is that the case? Yeah, here we go. Here's an example of pond cypress right here. They point upwards. So yeah, there's your demonstration of knowing if you're looking at pond cypress. And this is basically just a sapling. It's a young'un. But as I was saying, at one point, back in the early 1900s, this place was highly sought after for logging purpose, because both the pond and the bald cypress has a very resilient wood. So it's very resistant to rotting, and it also has a very firm structure thus making it very ideal for building materials, whether it be houses, railroads, you name it. So with that being said, it was actually around that time when the well-known Audubon Society started to form. And they really made high efforts to make sure that a habitat like this would remain protected. Because who knows? If no one stepped in, this place probably wouldn't even be here. Wow. But really, Corkscrew does a truly remarkable job of really getting that feel for old Florida. You know, what it really used to look like prior to development and even settlement too. Oh, here we go. We got some blue flag iris. That's a type of, it's a common wildflower found here. And that's the thing, mates. We never judge wildflowers based on their appearance. So why don't we treat humans the same? I feel like if we treated everyone as if they were a wildflower, the world would be an even more peaceful place. Shout out Garrett Stewart. Thank you for sharing that analogy the other day. It was a great one. Very thought-provoking. So, alright you guys. And by the way, I totally recommend for any of you to come here if you ever visit this part of Florida. I figured since it was on the way back to where I live, I figured I might as well take a visit, right? So, alright you guys, take care, and Journey on a Journey is outwards. Take care folks, see ya.